be in the enviable position of having a strong labour market. It is coming at a cost. The latest report from Clarius finding we're now on the brink of a skills crisis. Kim Quick is Executive General Manager of Clarius and is with me now. Kim, a warm welcome to you. We've just had the final of the men's tennis at Rod Laver Arena, and you do make a rather newsworthy comparison there. The seat capacity around that stadium, what? You would be hard-pressed to fill that, or you would fill that with the amount of what? Of skilled positions available.
Yeah, the number of unemployed skilled labour, actually. So, so it's quite a dramatic move from the last quarter. September, we saw in excess of 45,000 people looking for skilled work. Obviously, that's dropped dramatically to just under 18,000.
So what's happened in that intervening time?
Look, a lot of activity, a lot more renewed confidence, hiring expectations and intentions have risen dramatically, and I think we're still to see the worst of it. What we're seeing is a cautious re-entry into increasing staff numbers. If I can put that in context with the fact that September through to December sees a seasonal downturn in employment activity as well. So the increase we've seen in 17 out of 20 occupational categories during that period is actually quite an extraordinary result, and certainly bodes well for 2010. Without
getting too bogged down by numbers, you rate a lot of these sectors on a measure of 100, if I'm correct. Right. Now, if you go above that, you could be defining this as an extreme skills shortage. So anything above that mark? Anything over 100. So
we now have 9 of the sectors over 100, which already shows that you know there certainly is starting to be a increased demand.
We were hearing from this belief, looking out to job ads, that the government may not actually need to roll out all this infrastructure as the economy does pick up momentum all of its own. What does that do to the demand skill shortage when it comes to that sector? Does that take some of the pressure off it?
Look, it does. And interestingly enough, a lot of the stimulus is really geared towards the construction category, which if you look at the index, that's actually the area where there is starting to be the most strain on labour supply. So I suspect if that investment continues, that's an area we'll see significant problems in trying to actually find the appropriate labour to service those incentives.
You talk about musical chairs as well, this thematic of what employees might be doing in the next few months. Is that highlighted in one particular sector over another, or is that a broad?
Yeah, look, I think that'll be broad, and I don't think we'll see that in the raw numbers because those people will move from one job to another. But it really is more of a message for employers to take whatever opportunities they have to secure their talent, because they will be looking. The market is such that they will probably find employment opportunities elsewhere. And as we know from 2 years ago, the strain in finding good quality skilled labour certainly put a lot of pressure on business. So our advice is hang on to those people that you value in your organisation.
Is there a sense that, irrespective of the fact that people are moving very quickly through different sectors because their time horizons changed, you're in a rock and a hard place? You can't really control that as an employer. I mean, this idea of what did you do in the downturn? Did you pare back? Well, even if you didn't, as optimism turns of it in itself, people will be on the move regardless.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you control that?
Look, it's a very hard one to control, and I guess the bottom line is the grass is always greener for employees. So staying with a company during difficult times, hard decisions are made. That's just a reality. Those same hard decisions are made in other organisations. You're just not conscious of it. So, look, as an employer, it is very hard to manage that. I guess the best advice we can give is really make sure you know who your most valuable talent is, and look at ways to incent them to stay. We expect this will put a bit of pressure on wages. Skills shortage always puts pressure on wages, but that's also backed up by the fact that companies will feel the need to counter-offer employees, so offer them a significant amount more money to stay than they were 6 months ago or 12 months ago.
Do you think that is going to guide the RBA's decision-making on Tuesday, that's another inflationary pressure that they want to be ahead of, and that could be another spur to raise rates? Have you got a sense on that?
Yeah, look, I'm sure that will be one of the factors. I mean, we sort of see all of these things accumulating. Not one thing on its own is driving those decisions. So this is, look, this is an area where we do feel, 6 months down the track, it's going to be a very different landscape to the one that we've seen in the last 6 months.
Immigration rules, relaxing those, is it too late to act on these? By the time you present these findings to government, has the horse already bolted?
To a degree, yes, to a degree, and particularly, I guess the last 12 months we've seen things move both backwards and forwards very quickly. So, any historical data will always give you the benefit of hindsight. But I think what we are seeing are trends that are fairly predictable, and a lot of the issues that we're dealing with now are not dissimilar to during different downturns. Perhaps the cycle is a little bit shorter and a little bit less intense rather. But look, I think what we see in these numbers are really good indicators as to what we need to be doing to try and control these issues moving forward.
Well, if there was one policy decision that could balance this whole problem, what would it be in your view?
Oh, look, as far as trying to get some sort of balanced outcome, I guess a little bit more thought into where to direct people's educational opportunities. I think we see a lot of knee-jerk reactions to this type of data, and people who have gone through difficult times in the last 12 months all of a sudden wanting to go through career changes, and students coming out of high school making career decisions based on the current environment. I think the use of this type of data by government certainly gives them a lot of insight into where to direct the future of education.
Are you saying less emphasis on universities, more on TAFEs, and more on the applied, hands-on part of the economy?
That essentially is largely what those figures are telling us, and have consistently told us, and particularly through the last shortage. It was that that associate professional skilled category and the tradesperson's categories that felt the most pressure.
Is it a vote winner though, Kim? This is an election year. Is that regarded internationally as enough to kind of make us competitive if our universities are therefore the net losers?
Look, it's not. It's certainly not. It's not an exciting policy or a sexy policy as such. But look, I think the reality is, for there to be balance in the labour market, then those types of things need to be looked at.
Kim Quick, fascinating changes, swings, and how differently things can occur in the space of a few months. We do thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Kim Quick there from Clarius Group. We will take a break. Stick with us. We're going to wrap all the global markets.